Hello everybody, wanted to do a M-Balfouri communal update. You can see we finally had our first molt. I really can't tell you which one molted, that's the wind blowing it from my fan. I don't know which one molted. I have an idea. Let's see if we can take a look, see if we can figure it out. If they're all back here, because they haven't all been back here for a while. There are two. Now, in this little area here, which is that area, is where two of them have been hanging out. One's a little bit bigger and creamier looking. I think that's the one that molted. That one on the bottom is the smallest one. That was the one that was already originally here. The other three are the ones that came from the lad. So yeah, they're doing good. They're going to be fed probably tonight if I can get small crickets for them. Pet stores have been out of the small crickets around here for a couple, 3-4 days now. And it's kind of agitating because I don't have any red runners that are that small. All I have is the nymphs and subadults and adults. But everyone's doing well. They've really webbed this place up. Now one really likes to hang out over there. The one that molted, at least that's what I think is the one that molted, was just like kind of was right out here yesterday. Just kind of stretched out. But I can't be sure. You know, when you have a bunch of them together, you don't know which one molted and which one didn't unless you actually see it or see them immediately after. So we had that, and I rehoused finally the male Davus penniloris. I reused the enclosure for the Aphonopelma moderatum. I did smooth out the small little parts of the branches that probably could have pierced its abdomen. This one went for an adventure. I ran across my bed. I thought it went underneath, so I started looking for stuff, looking for him, and I looked over at my two baseball caps I had there, and he was sitting right on my baseball cap, so I got him back pretty quick. But yeah, he decided he wanted to go for a little adventure. So there's two updates. We'll update some more stuff later. I have a couple things coming in today. The Regalis, the M-Balfouri, and the GBB are all packed and ready to be sent to California. So we'll have that stuff coming tomorrow as well. But today we have a Classy, an E-Camp, and something else that I don't know what's coming. It's supposed to be a surprise. So, okay, well, I'll add that stuff in with the new stuff, and talk to you soon. Okay, guys, guys and gals, I should say. The new arrivals came in. There were 3 total. One was a surprise, really. This one is the Eupalaestrus campestratus, so this is my second. I just love these little guys, and my bigger one, he's about 2.5 inches or so. It's been a great tarantula, so I wanted to get another one, in the hopes of maybe getting a female. I still think that one's male, but we'll confirm with the next molt to be sure. Yeah, so this one's set up in a baseball or a softball cube, water dish, this little bit of foliage. I have some more small things I'm going to pop in there. Excuse me, I have to clean them off though. And it's one of those sugar skulls with the big hole in the backside as they hide, dug down. So it'll be comfortable in there. It's got a nice place to hide, and that came in real good. It's a real great species. One of my favorites, and one of the top 5 that I generally recommend for beginners. Okay, let me show you what's next. Okay, now I'm kind of filming with the flash just to help out with the light a little bit, but there is this cute little 1.25 inch, roughly, same size as the Eupalaestrus campestratus, Aphonopelma moderatum. It was kind of like it's a replacement for the one that, not really a replacement, but for the one that died last week. The person that sent it to me knows how much I cared about it, and so she sent me another one. This one's a little bit smaller, about half the size of the one that was here before, but still just as cute. Actually, they're smaller, they're cuter. But I'll get some better video when it's out. Again, it's in a softball container. I put the cattle skull in there, and it's taken right to it. It's moved some dirt in, moved some dirt out. It's been pretty busy since it got here, so look forward to this one. Now these ate over the weekend, so they're not going to be ready to eat for a little while yet, so we won't see them probably eat for another week or so, which is okay because I have to get some stuff to feed them. I'm really suffering with tarantulas this size for feeders. I have all the little babies in there, and then I have mostly adults and subadults of the red runners in the roach bin. I don't have many of the medium sized. I mean, I do have the worms. There's a ton of worms in there that I can feed them. So, okay, let me show you the last thing. This one was a surprise. I wasn't. Okay, so here's the last thing. This was kind of a surprise. I wasn't expecting this at all. This is a tailless whip scorpion. This Damon diadema. I remember I got the Medius in, and the Medius didn't make it through. This one's still a juvenile. Really cool looking. I need to dampen the substrate. I guess we got to keep this one the dirt damp, and then spray it 2 times a week, because it will only drink water from water droplets. It won't drink out of a water dish. So yeah, this one I'm looking forward to. I guess we feed it once a week, so we'll make sure that we try to get some decent shots of this one. And it needs to have the cork bark in here, because when they molt hanging onto the cork bark. Similar to, I think, what huntsman spiders do, and praying mantises. I think they all have to have something upright to molt on. So those are the 3 things that came in today. And I did get the Regalis and the GBB and the Mel Balfouri sent out. They're on their way to California as we speak. And then tomorrow we'll get the Brachypelma bomi, which is about 2 3/4 of an inch. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to put that in yet. I'll probably go ahead and put it in, one of these shoe boxes. Same thing as the Nandu's in there, or something like this with the Aphonopelma. Aphonopelma. That's a Brachypelma albopilosum nicaraguan. So we have that. We have an Orphnaeacus species Laos, not Orphnaeacus, sorry. Ornithoctone species Laos, and I think I'm going to use the container that KC Tarantula sent his male in to house that. And then I have a 1-inch Bumbuck cabocla and a 1-inch Davus penniloris coming in, and they will go into those systemas. We have 3 of those. I'm going to get a couple more softball cubes over the course of the next week. I want to try and get the Grammostola pulchra. It's in. Where is he? There's the rosea. That is the Baggins. I think the pulchra is in this one. Oh, you guys, I'm looking at the thing. I'm not looking at focus. Sorry about that. So I think this is the. Maybe that's the pulchra. I have to look at the. No, that's the species Bolivia. Plesioplelma. Okay, so Plesioplelma species Bolivia, the Grammostola pulchra, Grammostola rosea, Brachypelma vagans, the Brachypelma hamori right there, and possibly the Brachypelma classi. I want to move out of these into softball containers. And then there's the Grammostola porteri. She or he molted the other day. So yeah, that's pretty much everything that's going on right now. And I'll add a couple more things on to the end of this video and get it uploaded tonight. Okay, and the last real quick two things to end the update video and the new arrivals is this was, I guess you could consider it a new arrival. I went to get crickets the other day, and they had a couple tarantulas at the store. You didn't hear that, but this is a Aphonopelma. I have one, but I always like to have two of the, like, my favorite stuff. You know, like most of my brackies I try to have two of, and then the Aphonopelma I try to have two of. And it was between this and a Cambridge eye, and I went with the Eupalaestrus just because I like black and I like orange. Not that I don't like the Cambridge eyes, because I really do, but I decided to go with the Eupalaestrus. Well, got a pretty good deal, so I couldn't say no. I know you can't see it very well. It ate a couple small little red runner nymphs yesterday, so it's doing good. I'm happy with that. And since I lost the little baby pulcher, I thought you know, having another one wouldn't be a bad thing. And last but not least, let me pause you, and then I'll get the last thing out that we'll update. Okay, so this was the enclosure that I had the Aphonopelma moderatum in, and that's the same piece of wood. And what I did is I went through and I cut off all the pieces that were sharper and put it back in. Because originally I set this up specifically for this tarantula right here, and this is the male Dabus penilorus. So he's in. He gave me a bit of a hassle. I used that big 30-gallon tub. I put this in the tub. I put his enclosure, which was one like this, in the tub. I poked him. I got all his stuff out of his enclosure, and then I poked him, and he climbed up, climbed on the side of this, around it, up the side of the 30-gallon tote, down the outside 30-gallon tote, and across the bed. I thought that I thought I lost him. I thought for sure I lost him. So imagine he started off on this part of my bed, crawled to this part of my bed, and right there were two of my ball caps, and he crawled on the ball cap and just huddled up. And this is a typical behavior of an escaped tarantula. Most of them, OBTs will go a lot farther, but most tarantulas, if they do escape, they don't go very far because they're in very unfamiliar territory. So they find the first thing that they can huddle into, and then they huddle up and then wait. And he was very, very placid, getting him off the hat into the catch cup. He actually really didn't even move. But I did struggle getting him out of the catch cup into this enclosure. Right there I had the water dish, and there were a couple other pieces of plant there. And let me see if you guys remember the video I did the other day with the long 1 liter bottle. That's what I used to catch him in. So I had to put that in that little area and get him to stay there. And it took probably about 10 tries to get him to actually stay on the substrate without moving. And then once I did, and I got that lifted up and put the lid on, then he was fine. And you could see already, I know there's some dirt on here, so but you could see he's already webbed up there. He's right underneath that. He's been over here. I'm pretty comfortable with the modifications to this piece of wood that I made, that there will be no more issues with him hurting himself. And he's more of a climbing, burrowing tarantula anyway, more than the moderatum is. So I made sure that this was all the way up to the top against the lid so that it wouldn't climb, or he wouldn't climb up here. But yeah, so he needs fed. She needs fed. That's the Brachypelma albopilosum hobby form. She is going to, next molt, she's out of here probably. I'm starting to think more of keeping them in smaller quarters than in bigger quarters, because I see more people are doing that, and it seems that, the spiders don't need a ton of room. I'm not saying that, again, we could have this conversation a million times. I'll never tell you that an enclosure is too big. But sure, an enclosure can be too small, so like if you put a 10-inch spider into this 10-inch long enclosure, that's too small, of course. But you could see that she's roughly 3 inches, and she's in a 7 inch, I think that's 7 inches long, maybe 8 inches. Should be fine in here for 2-3 molts, till she's in that 4 to 5 inch range. And even these things are good for a 4 to 5 inch spider. They don't need a ton of room to roam around. They're not wanderers. They're sit and wait predators. They just sit and wait for stuff to come around. Some are more active than others. Most of them really are just happy with being comfortable and contrite right where they're sitting. I don't know that he's moved more than an inch in the last 3.5 weeks. And if it is, it's only because I disturbed his enclosure. He just sits there. And if I had him in an enclosure twice as big, he would still just be sitting there. So, don't let anybody really get down on you about your enclosure size. I know the Dark Den, he has his stuff in smaller enclosures, and a lot of people question, his enclosure size. There is one of the wonderful, beautiful Monocentropus balfouri slings. You can see that it made itself another escape hatch, and just over the course of today, we had this hole. Now we have one there, and we have one there. So they're now starting to make tunnels in their webbing. So you have him. Let's see if you can see the other ones. But anyway, having them in smaller containers is not really going to hurt them. Okay, and we're back to only being able to see 2 again. There's the little baby one. And I'm sure the other ones are, like I said, they're underneath here. They've really dug down into... I looked underneath, I didn't see anything that they've dug all the way down to the bottom. But so yeah, don't be discouraged keeping them in something a little bit smaller, because they don't really need a lot of room to move. They need enough room to molt. They need enough room to have water dish. They need enough room to hide or dig, and enough room to attack prey. Really, that's all they need. And the smaller the enclosure, the easier it is for them to get their prey. And it's easier for you to know, A, whether they're eating, and B, whether they're interested. Because generally, if you throw something in to an enclosure with a tarantula that's, like her right now, we'll put her at 5 inches. If you put her a 5-inch spider in there and you throw something in there and she's not interested, she's not going to be. So you're going to know right away. But if you put something in there right now that may wander on the other side, she may not know it's there. You know what I'm saying? So don't get discouraged about keeping him something smaller. So I think I'm going to try and minimize the space and see how that works for, the winter and into the spring, and then go from there. I do have 2 more spiders that are supposed to go out. They'll probably be the last things that I trade. Anything else from here on out will probably be either breeding loans or sales. Matter of fact, the only males I'm going to have are males that I'm keeping. KC Tarantula's male, the Chalcodes. If we get a good pairing with him, and I'll probably try it twice or 3 times, and if he does okay with her, then I do know somebody that also has a mature female that we may send him to. KC Tarantula's, he already said it was okay. As long as he got some of the slings from, a successful breeding in that aspect too. So, and then the Seriocosmus Bertae, which I think I may possibly put him back in with her today. I have a pretty open schedule. Tomorrow I have to go into work 4 hours early, so I have to go in at 2:30 in the morning. So tomorrow is going to be out for really doing anything, and I need my Chalcodes to warm up. I need her 2 more days of being at warmer temperatures, because I had her cool down, and I was told to make sure that she's been warmed up for at least a week before I put them together. And then we breed them. If we see insertion, then I keep her at that warmer temperatures and then try increasing her temperature. So what I'll do is move her from there to there next to the gecko light, so she'll have that warmer, the heat coming from that going into her enclosure. I'm supposed to warm her up to roughly around 85 degrees, and a week later then I'm supposed to douse the enclosure for about a week. So every day I'll have to go in there and spray it down, keep it wet, and then she should lay a sack within 30 to 60 days roughly. So that's what's on the docket. I hope you guys like the new stuff. I'm really pleased again with the Aphonopelma moderatum. They're definitely one of my top favorite tarantulas, and I never really paid them much attention until I got that guy in. But this one is a little bit smaller, and like I said, a little bit cuter because it is smaller. It's like a little puppy dog. They're so fuzzy and so cute, and you just want to squeeze them, but not really squeeze them. But yeah, so now we have an extra E-camp, which is great because I'm glad, because the one that we will have is probably a male, so having the other one to be able to grow up, they don't grow very quickly, so I'll have some time with that one. And I think that's all that's really going on. I don't know that I have anything really in pre-molt. Now I looked over everybody here, everybody up top, and we went through the shelves yesterday, and I went through these guys the day before. I need to check all my arboreals today. So while the video is uploading, I'll take a look at those. I have some crickets I need to feed off. I won't be filming anything because we'll be uploading this video, but and now my light needs to charge. Yeah, I'm looking at a microphone. I'm trying to find a microphone that I can plug into my phone or into the GoPro when I video, to help with the voice, and then I will attach my light to something different to put the light into the enclosures when we're filming. Casey Tarantulas told me what he uses. I have that on my list. I think that'll probably be sometime this fall. I'll order one of those lights. We have a tripod that I can put it on already. It's an LED light, so we'll have more light up high shining down into the enclosures. I won't need to use this little LED that attaches to my phone. I'll just use that for taking pictures. So here was the Regalis' enclosure. It's all empty now, so I'm going to get that cleaned out, put away, which will free up a spot for another one of these enclosures for either her down there, or we'll see what size the Bomi comes in at tomorrow. He said 2 3/4, so it's actually a little smaller than she is. So if I move her into one of these, we'll fill one side up, all the way here with dirt, and then we'll just kind of like bring it over and then angle it down, so she'll have somewhere to dig if she wants to. And then I will end up using this, is what my plan was, to use that enclosure for the transfer of Chaos, the medium-sized P. Murinus. One more molt, and then we'll probably move her into that. Hopefully by then some stuff will be rearranged and the collection will be a little bit smaller. I'll have a little bit more room. Probably not, because all the ones I'm keeping will start growing up, and then I won't have room anyway. But yeah, we're just dealing as we go. That's really it. Might have some D. diamentinensis slings. Looks like the pairing might have been successful with John Sanchez's female. So hopefully I'll have a couple of those, which will be cool. And I can't get my female, doesn't want to come out. She was out for a little while, now she's hiding again. So okay, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you have any questions, again, if you guys are having any kind of issues with the voice and the sound, let me know. I mean, someone mentioned it on one of my other videos, and I watched it on my phone, I watched it on the TV, and I watched it on my computer, and I didn't have any issues with the sound, but they were having all kinds of issues. He said it was like I was walking away and coming back and walking away and coming back. So I'd asked if it was possibly on his end, and he said no. He listened to it on the headphones and listened to it on his phone or whatever, but I don't really know. So if you guys have problems, or if you hear you know, my voice is odd, other than me turning around or walking away, let me know. And this whole, Dave, learn how to at least show something while you're talking. I got to get used to that, because I'm like talking and looking around and I have no idea where my phone's pointing. So, okay, look for a feeding video sometime this weekend, or I was thinking about doing a sling tour video, which I thought would be kind of cool. And we can bring down all the slings and you can see what I have, at least what's visible anyway. So, okay, have a great day. Have a great day, great rest of your week, and we will talk to everybody soon. See ya.